Cheese, no design on my jacket. Work hard, now I'm changing my bracket. Talk tough, we ain't hearing that racket. Dots came in, you know how to stack it. Don't take it wrong, but I'ma need my ends though. I got tigers on my chest like Kenzo. Rail came, yeah, he putting that Benz though. Carol's here, man, you know he stay 10 toes. Big dog, man, you know I ain't worried. Bent up, so I'm talking real slurry. Got a blast, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is Adam Caplan, the voice in your ears with AC Radio, fresh off that UFC 286 in London, England at the O2 Arena. We had Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. The trilogy is over. Leon Edwards is officially the winner of that trilogy. 2 versus 1. One headshot, bang, head kick. You know, a decision win for Kamaru Usman, but then a third fight, the trilogy one in London, England, a decisive victory for Leon Edwards. But we're going to get to that because we first have Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev, a 3-round banger. Fiziev came out the gate ripping those beautiful roundhouse kicks to the body, and he gave Justin Gaethje some difficulty. He gave Justin Gaethje some things to think about. But what gave Justin something to think about was exactly what also had Gaethje having a successful performance on the night. So we're going to get into it. First things first, Gaethje had to worry about when he circled right, those beautiful roundhouse kicks to the liver from Rafael Fiziev. But should he circle to the left, he also had to worry about those big, powerful right hands. So Gaethje had to think about a few things. What I felt Fiziev should have done in the first round, though, was put Gaethje on the back foot a little bit more. Because he didn't do that, he gave Gaethje an opportunity to set his feet and remain calm in the scenarios. You know, you could tell that Gaethje was going in here with a calm, cool, collected, an emotionless Justin Gaethje, which is exactly what would have been his detriment if he would have done the opposite. So the fact that he was calm and cool was exactly one of the great storytellings to why he was successful on the night. But Fiziev comes out in that first round, ripping those roundhouse kicks to the body, throwing beautiful, powerful punches to the body as well, and just showing Justin Gaethje that he's here for a scrap. And even though Gaethje was still settling in with his feet, managing his footwork well, was still able to get in a few shots, Justin wasn't able to get his boxing off early, you know, in that first round. But you could still see that patience of Rafael Fiziev was actually making Justin more comfortable despite losing the first round. And then in that second round, Fiziev sticks to the same game plan, except this time he closes the distance with a little bit more oomph to it and was able to land those beautiful strikes to the body. But this time, Justin was able to counter or at least be second in returning 2, 3, 4 punches. Was starting to find his timing, was starting to find his groove a little bit more, and wasn't losing the game plan in being emotional or flailing or throwing caution to the wind when Fiziev would land. That calmness of Justin remained in the second round, and then that is why when Fiziev closed the distance with a little bit more aggression, maybe perhaps a little less tactic, Justin made him pay for that. And he even opened up Rafael Fiziev with a nice cut around the eye. And that posed for some optics and some difficulties in the third round. So I think the second round was the biggest toss-up to most. I thought Fiziev definitely won the first round. But the second round, depending on how you cut the cake, it could have gone either way. I felt that Justin landed his range a little bit better in that second round to be able to give it to Justin. But on the flip side, if you were looking at what Fiziev done as well, I could see a case for it too. You know, and then in that third round, this is the deciding one. And in about halfway through the round, you start to see that Justin Gaethje finds his range. Rafael Fiziev started the round aggressively. You know, about the first 60 to 90 seconds, he was going for it. He was starting to put the pressure and starting to put the power and the punches together and ending them off with the kicks on Justin Gaethje. But usually you start to see when a fighter is fading, the first minute, a minute and a half, or sometimes even 45 seconds is what they really have left in their gas tank from a significant striking standpoint. And that's what showed. Because about halfway through the 3.5, 2.5 minute mark, Justin Gaethje started circling beautifully and landing that jab all day, going back to the fundamentals, going back to the Trevor Whitman system, going back to the Justin Gaethje that we saw against Tony Ferguson. And that's what it's all about, baby. Moving your feet, staying behind your jab, luring your opponent into some caution, and then ripping him with a classic Justin Gaethje uppercut. That's what it's all about. Because when Fiziev started to get frustrated off of that jab and he closed the distance, Justin slipped off, bang, popped that uppercut, started to show Fiziev, I'm a top fiver. You're a bottom tenor. There's a difference in this game. And let me tell you something. I'm glad that Dana White said that he's not going to be doing as many Apex shows and he's going to start traveling more around the world to these smaller stadiums for more exciting fight nights. You know, we're not going to have Apex shows. We're going to get those classic UFC fight nights. And if you don't think that Rafael Fiziev versus Justin Gaethje on a 5-rounder in one of these smaller stadiums would have been a banger, come on now, shit would have been lit. And that's what they should have done, because it also showed in that fight that Justin was ready to go 5 rounds and Fiziev was not. The game plan was supposed to go 2 to 3, maybe hoping to put him away. But Justin was calm, cool, popping that jab, slipping off, banging the uppercut, cracking the left hook. Very loose, calm, cool, and concise. Even ended the fight with a takedown and then told the fans or the critics to shut the fuck up. And at that moment, I took that personally because I was one of those guys, but I love being proven wrong because low key, when I'm critical about a guy like Justin Gaethje or a guy like Darren Till, it's because I like them and I know what they're capable of and I know what they could do in there. And Justin Gaethje proved me wrong. And he proved to all of us that he's still a top fiver and a top contender in the UFC's lightweight division. It was a beautiful performance. Most people maybe had it a draw. Some even had it 29-28 for Fiziev. Justin Gaethje had it for him, absolutely. One judge even gave the third round a 10-8, which I don't agree with because at the beginning of the round, Fiziev still landed a few significant strikes. You don't score something 10-8 when somebody is even able to land a few significant strikes in the round, okay? When it's a 10-8, it's a fucking shutout. And maybe you post for a shutout at the 3.5, 3 minute, 2.5 minute mark. That's like 60% of the round, okay? So it wasn't a 10-8. I could definitely see how some folks had the second round for Fiziev, but I was comfortable with Gaethje taking the second and third round, an impeccable third round, utilizing that footwork, popping the jab, slipping off, ripping the uppercuts, left hooks. You best believe why Trevor Whitman was smiling the entire night, even when Kamaru Usman lost, because when Justin Gaethje is on and firing and hitting off the footwork with the pitter-patter punches and then slipping and ripping, that's a fucking Justin Gaethje, ladies and gentlemen. So congratulations to him, a top fiver. And, one of the things that I'm looking out for is what's next for Justin Gaethje, because clearly we could have the Dustin Poirier rematch. Maybe we could have the Charles Oliveira rematch or a Beneil Dariush match, which, he wasn't so foreign. I'm personally not even that into as well. Would love the Dustin rematch. That's what I think it's all about. A 5-round main eventer in a city that the UFC hasn't been to in a long time to blow the roof off the place. Justin Gaethje versus Dustin the Diamond Poirier. That's going to be a tongue twister when I have to break that one down. And then, for Rafael Fiziev, what happens? I mean, look, the career is not done here. It's only his 14th fight in MMA. Let's relax here. Look at boxing, for example. You think most of these guys are fighting top quality contenders in their 14th fight? That's some Lomachenko shit right there. So congrats to Fiziev. He's got a beautiful future in front of him. He's another $50K richer. We know how much the payments mean to him. And, I hate to put it like as if it's a sob story or something like that. But all we talk about is the fighter pay, and it's not enough, and it's not enough, and it's not enough. And once in a while, it's nice to bring to the table some folks that actually appreciate the paychecks that the Ultimate Fighting Championships gives these fighters. So congratulations. What a beautiful fight. Fight of the night guaranteed. A little sip of that blue raspberry, and then we're getting to Leon Rocky Edwards retains the welterweight championship versus Kamaru Usman. So it was a sold-out crowd in London. Kamaru Usman came out loose and calm and cool, coming out to some Nigerian music. He had his brother, Muhammad Usman, behind him. They were getting jiggy with it, walking out there, calm and cool, not showing any fear, not showing like the knockout did anything, showing like he belongs, showing like he's been there a million times like he actually has. Leon Edwards comes out, classic Leon Edwards, smiling, relishing the moment, very happy. And we get into some theatrics right off the bat. Bruce Buffer announces Kamaru Usman's name. Kamaru Usman marches across that octagon, goes right in front of Leon Edwards. And what does Leon Edwards do? The classic headshot bang. And he's even pulling the trigger right in front of him. You know, the fans are going crazy. Instagram, Twitter's going crazy. All the graphic designers, the Photoshop fiends are going crazy. They're screenshotting that, doing their editing and bullshit. Not my thing, but, you know, maybe Brett. And it was blowing the roof off the place right from the get-go, you know. And then we saw shades of Utah when Kamaru Usman is bending down in that wrestling stance, keeping his head in the chest of Leon Edwards. And what is Leon doing? Looking past Kamaru Usman. And in hindsight, that's just such a beautiful, beautiful image, because that's the second time that that's happened. But this time, as the great Teddy Atlas said, Leon was 30% better, because all of the confidence and all of the questions and all of the belief that Leon has had in his skill set over the years gets 30% better when you're then defending the title as a champion, because you have the proof in the pudding that you actually belong there. And that's what got me going about the great Jamal Hill when he beat Glover Teixeira, is because all of those questions that he had asked for himself had been answered. And in that moment, when Leon was looking past Kamaru Usman, you know, you're starting to think to yourself, wow, like that ego is really all over the place. He's looking past him, not even mentally, but actually physically right in front of us. Like, is Leon Edwards going to blow it here? Holy crap, did he not? He was looking past Kamaru Usman and then put on a beautiful performance. Some fans had it 4-1 or 5-0, despite the point taken away, whatever the case may be. You know, once you start dealing with the deductions and starting to guess what the scoring is, gets a little bit all over the place. So I like to call it round by round. Let's get right into it. First round, man, Kamaru Usman comes out and, you know, eats some shots. He eats some shots from Leon Edwards. Leon is looking poised. He's ripping those body kicks. He's showing that the work with Henry Clemenson has continued with that beautiful Muay Thai. And listen, man, he started ripping those roundhouse kicks to the body, similar to what we saw from Fiziev. And it's funny, like, we're always ready to talk about the famous calf kick as being the new breed and the new big thing in MMA. And it's really been around forever. And then, you know, these beautiful kicks to the liver happen and these roundhouse kicks happen, and we're like desensitized from it. And if you look at the technique and the form and the fundamentals behind Fiziev and behind Leon Edwards when they throw those roundhouse kicks, it is just like the epitome of Muay Thai. They throw it the way the Thais do, you know, with just such beautiful technique and a whip to it, with a strong shin behind it that cracks the ribs of you. So, you know, Leon was doing that in the first round. Usman did a very good job of staying in front of Leon throughout the entire fight, but he wasn't cutting off the ring. He was mere just kind of following Leon around. But because Leon's game plan was to stick to those leg kicks, stick to those roundhouse kicks, stick to those teeps to the body to keep Usman off of him and to keep him more in a range, it posed for some difficulties. I gave the first round to Leon, a calm, cool Leon. Beautiful first round, showing that he is a confident champion and that he deserves to be here. And all of the naysayers that thought that Usman was going to pin him up against the cage and put him down, that didn't happen, because Leon stuffed the first takedown of the night, and it was a beautiful one at that. And that would continue for most of the night. But in that second round, Leon got under the skin of Kamaru in between the rounds. Kamaru came out like a bat out of hell, started landing some significant strikes. But again, Leon started keeping Kamaru off of him with those kicks. And then Kamaru got frustrated, closed the distance again. Leon made him pay for it with a beautiful knee, which, you know, the commentators, Bisping and DC, were saying landed absolutely flush. And if Kamaru survived that, then it should shut down the naysayers of the chin, and the fight continues. And then Kamaru once again starts putting a little bit of that pressure on Leon, and Leon is backing up calmly, and boom, Kamaru lands a beautiful right straight, a Trevor Whitman classic right there. Beautiful right straight, backs up Leon Edwards. Leon has a beautiful high guard and is actually blocking the majority of these punches, but like Kamaru starts putting some meat and potatoes behind these dirty boxing punches while he has Leon Edwards pinned up against the cage. And Leon survived. Leon survived. Then Usman went to go for the takedown. He brought down Leon, but the story of the night continues where he can't keep Leon on the mat. Leon gets up right away from the takedown. They separate, and then Leon makes a grave mistake. He goes for the takedown. Big error. I mean, he had Kamaru backed up. He should have went back to the kicks or circled off to take the center of the octagon, because his back was half on the cage, but he also had all of that real estate to circle off, reclaim the center of the octagon, and reestablish his game plan. But he went for the takedown and, you know, posed for some difficulties there because Kamaru controlled him there. Didn't keep him there for the rest of the round. Again, the story of the night. Leon Edwards gets up, goes back to his game plan, and that's why, for most, the second round is a toss-up, because they didn't feel that Kamaru was able to actually do enough in those positions. And perhaps the most significant moment is a position that Leon put himself in. But that's not Kamaru's problem. So that's why I gave the second round to Kamaru Usman. And then we have that third round that Leon was doing great in until the fence grab. He hit Kamaru in the nuts a few times, a couple of eye pokes, then he grabbed the fence. They took a point away from Leon, and then the fans are starting to shake their head. And a lot of folks, even myself or a Michael Bisping or a DC, were wondering if this was going to be the moment in the fight where there was a shift, and that we were going to see that Leon was going to start to get down on himself, similar like the second fight. But that didn't happen. It was still quite a successful round for Leon Edwards. But I think that Kamaru took the round because he was still able to get his boxing off and was still actually able to get a takedown and hold Leon there for a lot longer than he did in the first two rounds. So I gave the third round to Kamaru Usman, but then that fourth and fifth round, man, Leon Rocky Edwards showed who the fuck he was. Stuck to the game plan like an absolute champion. I mean, the way that Justin Gaethje and Leon Edwards were so calm, cool, and vigilant and disciplined in their game plan, they stuck to it like PhDs in there. They did not divert from anything, given the moment, given the emotion, given the fence grab and the point deduction, given the fact that Fiziev was closing the distance and landing those roundhouse kicks and starting to land close to the body. When I hate to go back to the other one, but I'm in the juice right now, baby. When Fiziev, lands those punches to the body, they're in that Justin Gaethje range. Remember when Justin Gaethje, before he got laser eye surgery, he said he needed to touch the opponent in there before he could swing because he could barely see? It was foggy. That was classic World Series of Fighting Justin Gaethje range that Fiziev was in when he closed the distance. And in that second round, he made him pay with the 2, 3, 4 punches. But in the third round especially, Justin could have started throwing caution to the wind and could have diverted from the game plan because it was right there on a silver platter, and he didn't. And neither did Leon Edwards in the fourth and fifth round. Stuck to those leg kicks, stuck to those kicks to the body, was stuffing the takedown. Kamaru Usman, by the end of the fight, was using his wrestling to stall out the game plan and the Muay Thai of Leon Edwards more than he was in actually trying to get the fight to the mat, because, Usman was not able to do that. And if he did, he wasn't able to hold Leon there. I think in the third round was the longest he pinned down Leon. Maybe there was a moment or two in the fourth or the fifth. I'm not sure. But, you got to think about, if you look back in the history of England MMA, look at the Dan Hardys of the world. Not so much a Michael Bisping, because he had good MMA wrestling and had a great understanding of jiu-jitsu. But remember Dan Hardy when he was representing Nottingham and he was fighting George St. Pierre and he got absolutely outclassed all 5 rounds on the ground, and George should have taken his arm home 5 or 6 times. And we've seen all of these, a Jimmy Manuel, all of these fantastic strikers that came out of England that had absolutely no fucking ground game, or Ross Pearson, no ground game whatsoever, none. And then 15 years later, you have Leon Edwards, a Muay Thai specialist. The way he throws those kicks is like he's been in Thailand half of his life and not Birmingham or not Jamaica. He goes out there and defends and stuffs the takedowns and makes a Division III champion and American wrestler in Kamaru Usman look human. If you rewind the clock 15 years ago, that shit would have never happened. And the wrestler would have dominated time and time again against the scrappy British strikers. And then you fast forward to now, and you have Leon Edwards in his hometown in London, England, stuffing the takedown and making the wrestling of Kamaru Usman, which brought him to where he is today, because it wasn't his striking, it was his wrestling. He only started getting comfortable with the striking, first with Henry Hooft, and then especially with Trevor Whitman, making that wrestling look basic. So congratulations to Leon Edwards, man. That grappling and that takedown defense and just the mere mental fortitude of Leon Edwards to get through all of these hurdles and to even back up every single thing that he has said, and to then stuff the takedowns and then come back and stick to the game plan and be structured and concise. Just a masterclass performance, a beautiful performance. It sucks that there was the fence grab, but it almost makes it a bit better. You know what I'm saying? Because he still lost the round 10-8. It's not like he came back and then it was like a 9-8 round. Makes the story even better because it just proves again that this isn't false confidence, and he is 30% better, and he's even maybe 35 or 40% better. And now he's got matchups lined up against Colby Covington. And now he's kind of going after the resume of what Kamaru Usman's already done, except he has Kamaru Usman's head twice. And now he has the ability with Colby Covington, a big fight with good smack talk, a good style. Colby Covington is a guy, too, who, you know, in some ways has better wrestling than Kamaru Usman, but doesn't maybe rely or use it as much. Likes to use volume, likes to make it a striking match. That's a good matchup for Leon Edwards. But he's going to have his wits about him in the wrestling department, obviously. But we clearly see that he does because he was successful against Kamaru Usman like a boss. So the antics, though, are going to be different because Colby Covington knows how to get under your skin like nobody other. Kamaru Usman's more on the cringe side. Colby Chaos Covington will make you want to slap somebody. So that'll be an interesting one. But what an amazing, amazing fight. Leon Edwards retains the title. You know, how many folks thought that he was going to be a one and done? How many folks thought he was riding on too high of a wave and he was underestimating the skills of Kamaru Usman? A lot of people, you know. And I think that this also reiterated to people that Kamaru Usman is no slouch, even though nobody was counting him out. But at least we could put away the fact that he wasn't necessarily hesitant because of the knockout. Leon just had a better game plan. I don't believe that Kamaru was gun shy. I think the real factor here was that Kamaru wasn't able to wrestle like a wrestler. He wasn't wrestling properly. He was using these wrestling positions to stall, to nullify the game plan of Leon, not to then impose his game plan. And that's what I think was a big difference on the night. And to me, it's just so nice to see a guy like Leon Edwards have his time to shine, have his moment, be able to defend the title in his first one in his hometown. You know, reminds me of a George St. Pierre when he won the title. They were like, no brainer. When he lost the title, actually, no brainer. We're actually doing the rematch in your hometown in Montreal because we know you're going to bring it home and we know those fans are going to blow the roof off this place. And, you know, it's just nice to see a humble and professional champion in Leon Edwards that is still able to back up what he says, never lets a guy like Kamaru Usman or a guy like Colby Covington bully him, knows himself, knows his skill set, knows how to stand up for himself in and out of the octagon, has big matchups on the horizon, makes more of a refreshing sense and smell in the division. Kamaru Usman has been there, done that. He's ran through everybody. We're not really interested in many Kamaru Usman rematches, at least for the title. But Leon Rocky Edwards brings a lot of fresh matchups in here. We have Colby Covington. We have maybe even Conor McGregor if he beats Michael Chandler. We have Masvidal if he puts on an emphatic performance against Gilbert Burns. We have Gilbert Burns. Chimaev's not going to get it. Seems like Chimaev is like kind of shadow banned right now, and then they're making a move up to 185. But, man, Wonder Boy Thompson versus Leon Edwards. Sheesh. A lot of bangers there. There's a lot of other fighters that I'm not mentioning. You know the drill. We got to look at the rankings and whatever the case may be. But man, that was a beautiful, beautiful night. Leon Rocky Edwards finalizes, puts the finishing touches on that Rocky story, that Rocky Balboa story. Come on, Leon, you've got to do it, Leon. You know what I'm saying? You guys are going to laugh at me over that one, but you know what I'm saying? You can't let him bully you, Leon. That shit is donezo, man. Leon Edwards showed that he is the fucking man in there. You're lucky I don't sound like Leon Edwards' coach, but you best believe that we're going to see more promising and prominent performances from Leon Rocky Edwards, and hopefully Justin Gaethje on the horizon brings that beautiful performance back in the game that he did before. And stay tuned because we've got Corey Sandhagen versus Chito Vera, the preview, and Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez, the super middleweight championship fight that we've been looking for a long, long time. A great matchup, a tactical one, and it's going to be a barn burner because both guys hate each other, and they're both some of the best world-class boxers, and that's always a treat because we don't always get the best world-class boxers at the best time. But you best believe AC Radio, we're out, baby.
Big cheese, no design on my jacket. Work hard, now I'm changing my bracket. Talk tough, we ain't hear that racket. Dogs came in, you know how to stack it. Don't take it wrong, but I'ma need my ends though. I got tigers on my chest like Kenzo. Rail came, yeah, he putting that Benz though. Carol's here, man, you know he stay 10 toes. Big dog, man, you know I ain't worried. Bent up, so I'm talking real slow.